game. Let's listen in.
没准我们抢两边，抢左边，或者抢上地也行。看我们对位优势了，看我们对位打谁了。
到时候听你的，到时候听你的。
Alrighty, it's time for Brackish. I am so pumped about this map. First round, Mandelbrick round. We will then go back to Brackish, and it will be an airdrop round. So we're going to see this map twice, and it'll be Space City until we are done. Super pumped about it. Obviously, Brackish, a very unique map. You've got the city, you've got the Tower of Babel, where most of the high-value loot is. These spawns are going to be everything. Remember, our priority spawns near the middle of the map, near the museum. It's because the Mandelbrick spawns near the museum. But of course, if you get that Tower of Babel spawn, you likely are going to be walking out with most of the loot if you can win the fight against the other team that spawns there.
That's right, and I believe Q9 likes to spawn over at the Tower of Babel, which is going to be highly impactful for them. I mean, they're already leading the charge when it comes to their Technic Alloy. That would be valuable, and on top of that, yesterday during the scrims, they were able to walk out with the most Technic Alloy plus the Mandel Brick. But I'm curious if we see Gold Silver immediately go straight in for the Mandel Brick like they did yesterday.
Yeah, here we go. The question is, do you move quickly or do you move slowly and play for the decoding station? A quick look at the map, you can see the teams that are near the Mandel Brick. It's actually going to be Fallen and Gold Silver with the two closest spawns, and it's Fallen that's already taken care of the museum. Now, if you watched our regional finals, you know that the Mandel Brick used to spawn inside the museum. It is now just barely on the outside. So they're going to take power position inside the museum and then likely be the first to act if they would like to. Down in the Tower of Babel, of course, we see Q9, you're right. Hey, they got the spawn they wanted. They're going to be down in the Tower of Babel with STS, a chance to change history against each other down in the tower. Of course, I think a lot of folks in the competition, are cheering on STS in that battle to make sure that somebody else can win this map.
Oh, that would be insane, wouldn't it? If STS is able to take down Q9 early on, that would be such a massive confidence boost and could very well change the course of Match A.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning, too, you saw it briefly, and you can actually see all the timers of the extractions on the left-hand side, but the Mandel Brick can't be picked up immediately. There's a 2-minute and 45-second timer, a countdown, before the Mandel Brick fully appears. Now, everybody can see where it is, but there's a timer on the map that they'll be able to see when it can be picked up. Once you pick up the Mandel Brick, it's got something called a torch timer. You got 5 minutes to get it to a decoding station. Once you put it in the decoding station, you got a couple minutes on the clock to defend, and again, every steal will reset the timer, but also decrease the timer. Now, take a look at the left-hand side of your screen. You can see some of the loadouts, and you can see that some of the players earn enough cash to bring in some Tier 5 gear, and we've got Mo walking in with some Tier 5 gear, and then we've also got some purples across the board for everybody else. Looking at some of our weapons, traditionally speaking, you see a decent spread of weapons. Mo ran the P90 all day yesterday. He's got it back in his hands this time around, and it does look like K1D has got the PKM, if I'm seeing that correctly, on the small of my screen. Watch out for Q9. They are stacked, and they are ready to rock and roll. You do see Gold Silver here, Oxygen, repping some red gear with the P90 as well. Operator choices. We see for the first time on main stage, and technically the first time in a big competition, not scrims, Articuno running Tempest. First time on main. He says he's the best with it. Let's see if he can perform on stage, as we've got 20 seconds on the clock for this Mandel Brick to spawn.
Well, we'll find out, right? That's a big statement, by the way, to say you're the best Tempest in the world. Now the chance to prove it on this very stage is there. Mandel Brick possibly going to be picked up very shortly. Fallen took priority over at Museum. The question is, though, who challenges first? Who wants to get the next touch?
Yeah, and it does look like, obviously, here's a look at the Mandel Brick as it spawns. Fallen is alone at Museum. The other teams, aside from, of course, our Tower of Babel teams, are playing around the decoding stations. The decoding stations, there's 3 of them kind of on the north side, one a little bit to the west. And then there's only one decoding station on the south side of the map down by the Tower of Babel in the reservoir area. Traditionally speaking, most of the teams favor the north side for decoding stations, but if Fallen knows that and they get a read on the map and they kind of have an idea of where people are at, the best decoding station right now for them is either Reservoir or just right outside of Museum if they want to play close and immediately start this timer. That is assuming they pick it up early.
That's right. Let's talk pros and cons. Picking it up early obviously starts the timer quicker, especially with them being isolated at Museum. Maybe it's they have the potential to tick off maybe a minute or two, right, which could be very valuable. But also picking it up yourself puts you at risk of potentially being totally wiped off, therefore forfeiting your game number 2. Not an option that they want. Like you said, here we go. They are, in fact, want to fully commit for it. The question is, where do they go to decode it?
It doesn't even look like they're going to pick it up yet. They're playing nice and slow. Now, of course, we have all the information. We know that there's nobody really in the area for the most part. The closest team is Gold Silver moving down from Asara Camp on the eastern side of the map. Now, we can see, look at Jan off screen. Jan's actually now on screen. Jan just picked up 1.4 mil. Am I reading that correctly? Okay, Jan, nice find, my friend.
Yeah, so when do you, kind of pick and choose when you want to extract and get out of here as opposed to playing for the Mandelbrot?
It really depends on what you can fit in your safe box, frankly. I mean, obviously, if you're able to fit the full battery into your safe box, you're feeling good. We see a stopwatch there from Mo, so several people picking up some nice loot. That's 214K, not too bad. So yeah, it depends on what you fit in your safe box. Traditionally speaking, I mean, the tank, I think, that you could pick up, model tank, fills up your entire safe box as a 3x3 item. So like, if you pick up that, you're like, okay, my safe box is full. If I find anything else, we're going to stack it on another player. But usually, if you're going to stack somebody and send them out, it's not traditionally happening on Mandelbrick rounds. Like, you need players on the map unless you find crazy loot, and you can just send 2 rogue to do whatever they want.
Still in the Tower of Babel. Q9 STS, relatively close to each other, but no shots have been fired just yet. On the Mandelbrick, Fallen continues to hold what they got, and maybe setting up a trap potentially for Gold Silver as they start to inch their way closer and closer, thinking, why has nobody taken the Mandelbrick just yet? Is this an opportunity maybe for us to steal it away? Well, maybe so. For AKA, the looting continues.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to take down Blue Eagle completely uncontested, so they pick up some extra loot. Frankly, don't get very much out of it that we've seen. Yep, yeah, that'd be a no-siree. SSD, that's probably the best item they got out of that, unfortunately. But they'll take what they can get. They found some decent loot already, 1.4 mil, playing the north side of the map. They're really the only team all the way up by the Grand Hammam at the very north side of the map around that extraction point. So they're playing nice and slow right now. Now, as you see on your screen, looks like Gold Silver is maybe taking the bait around this Mandelbrick. Fallen set up early, and honestly, uncharacteristically, Fallen is playing slow.
Yeah.
They were a more aggressive team when it came to the regional finals for EU. They were one of the best teams, of course. They made it here,
Oh my
but they were
gosh.
pretty aggressive. They have set up a trap.
All 3 of them
And-
look directly at Mandelbrick.
It's a good play. Somebody's got to make a move at some point. It is worth mentioning, we pay attention to our game clock. Because teams are playing slow right now, game clock may come in to be a factor when we talk about the decoding. So we'll watch those timers, and I'll keep you updated.
Actually very surprised at how slow this has been so far. Nobody's fired a single shot. I don't even think a desk pop at this point. Not a bullet has flown down range. I do want to point out, by the way, for Q9's perspective, I do like how they're set up ahead of STS. We'll talk about that potentially if it has an impact. But for Gold Silver, they are moving up, and it looks like the trap has been set, and Fallen is looking to potentially gun them down. So you got Q9 versus STS over at the Tower of Babel, and Gold Silver and Fallen. Both fights might be breaking out very shortly.
Yeah, this is classic LAN behavior. I don't think it's nerves. I think it's tactical mind. They're saying, look, somebody's going to make a move. This is a game of chicken on one of the grandest stages here in Delta Force. And I think Gold Silver knows it. There's no
How could
there's
you not?
no way. There's nobody over at the Mandelbrick right now playing chicken. They're just trying to get some information on where this team's at, which building are they set up in.
Yep.
And they know this map extremely well. They know which positions, which windows you can look down at the Mandelbrick. And because of that, I think they're going to swing around the west side of the map and potentially get an eye on somebody in a window before they make a move for the Mandelbrick.
I think this is the play. I was kind of worried maybe they were going to go back to what they did in map 1 and maybe send a solo player up ahead, check it out, see if the line of sight is clear. It wouldn't have been. Fallen would have taken them out. Q9 starting to disengage. Mo starting to leave the Tower of Babel at the moment. Some shots are finally going to be fired, and STS, you'd have to assume, going to be able to fill that out. They've known where Q9 has been for a considerable amount of time.
Okay.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, we take that. That's a nice amount of loot. Good grief. 3.7 mil.
Oh my gosh.
They
don't need it, though.
So funny. I saw it up on the couch and I was like, is that
Yes.
what I think it is?
Right.
And then I heard the whole, the casters for the Chinese team, right as they grab it, they freak out. This is what I'm talking about. You got to save like 3.7 mil, hanging out, having a day, good time. Saw it on the couch. We're able to pick it up. This is the value of the Tower of Babel spawn. We're focused on Mantle Brick, but this is a crazy amount of loot. But look at the left-hand side. That's the scores from this game alone.
Right.
Huge pickup for them.
I think for any other roster, they would be focused right now on extracting, getting out with the loot, or at least sending a player out right and locking in that Technic Alloy. But I think for Q9, they're not going to be satisfied with that. They want the Mandel Brick, and they've been known to attack it hard. But granted, you mentioned the time. Time is ticking away, and nobody has challenged the Mandel Brick just yet. How long can Fallen continue to stay where they are currently at? Because now the longer they stay, the less Technic Alloy they're going to be able to get out with. So this trap that they've been setting might very well be putting them at a disadvantage once this match ends.
Look, it's a game of chicken, and everybody's a chicken. I mean, nobody's going for it. Fallen's just sitting there waiting. Somebody's got to make a move, right? And I think everybody else is saying, no, somebody will make a move, right? And without that, it is going to be a long waiting game for Fallen. There is no one in the middle of the map right now. They are entirely alone. And actually, the first fight to truly break out, aside from the potential fight in the Tower of Babel, is going to now be on your screen. It's going to be Fennel, who's been guarding this decoding station for a while, and they get spotted out by Gold Silver. This will likely be our first engagement. And Fallen, finally, they said, okay, no longer can we be scared to pick this thing up. Fallen, pick up the Mantle Brick, and they head to the south side. It looks like FN, Mantle Brick in hand, sprinting away while the fight on your screen is around a decoding station that Fallen has no interest in.
Fennel pushing up. They want to take advantage of this knock. Hazmat, of course, going to be the tip of the spear. He typically is such a talented player, very aggressive when he needs to be. You do notice, though, there might be potentially a flank. I think Fennel's going to be sending one around. Gold Silver needs to be aware of this.
Oh, nice hit. A little burn there. Gonna land, and unfortunately, Hazmat swings up the right-hand side and gets another knock. It's gonna be a 1v3. This is spelling disaster for Gold Silver. And as a reminder, they were the team technically in last after map 1, really struggling Zero Dam after running Wall Breaker mission, and now in complete trouble. Off screen, by the way, it looks like the Tower of Babel fight has started as well, as Gior has picked up one player from STS down in the tower. And it also looks like, unbeknownst to FN, I'm sure they know somebody's in the Tower of Babel, maybe two teams. They've actually chosen the one southern decoding station next to the Tower of Babel in Reservoir, and they're catching STS in transition. Q9 is able to push STS out, picking up one, Fallen take down the other two, and they've got Mantle Brick position in Reservoir with the timer ticking. 3.5 minutes on the clock, and now it's a true 3v3. The only two teams anywhere in sight are Fallen and Q9, technically on paper our top two teams today, battling for the first brick.
I love where K1DE is currently at. If Mo gets taken down and we see Fallen maybe potentially get overly aggressive, K1DE is going to be able to capitalize off of it. HR, though, is going to be deadly, especially if Mo gets a little bit over aggressive. The question is, how far do you want to continue to push this issue? How much and how badly do you want the Mandel Brick for yourself? And time is of the essence. You barely have enough to get in, get the touch, and then get the fully decode for yourself. This is the fight to watch out for, and it could be so valuable for the side of that fit if they're able to win.
Whoever gets this Mantle Brick will be the top of the leaderboard, regardless of loot value. Q9 have a massive game going on the back of that 3.7 mil item. They've got a lot of other items in their safe boxes, likely. Bags even maybe filled with a couple of golds. But this fight is everything. Loot value is one thing. Mantle Bricks are the most important part of this competition. Again, you just got to be top 3.
Yeah.
But to win group stages is a great ego boost going into upper brackets, a trading of blows. And for the first time in a while, Fallen actually has the upper hand. As a reminder, yes, they're guarding the decoding station, Q9. The onus of responsibility is entirely on your shoulders to make the first move. Fallen never have to move if they don't want to, but we got a Route Man, and Route Man's about to get paid, or is he gonna—
There he is!
Mo goes for one! Oh, almost gets a second, but he gets traded out. It's gonna be a 3v2, but he gets two!
Yep.
Q1, K1DE over here! K1DE are there for the trade. Perfectly executed. A perfect trap and a perfect kill. Team wipe on Fallen, and they're able to steal the brick from the decoding station. Q9 in the best position on the map by a country mile.
Yeah, it was Mo who opened up that engagement, and I was asking myself, when he dropped, where's his teammate at? K1DE was right behind, and Mo's down the remaining player of Fallen to take the Mando Break for themselves. The rich get richer. Not only did they have the most Technic alloy already by a mile, now they're going to have the first Mando Break potentially, and nobody is around to challenge them because we still have a stagnant fight taking place in the Northwest.
Yeah, I mean, this Mantle Brick is going to go to the side of Q9 most definitely. Now, we'll pay attention to the timers, of course. They're getting fully kitted back up. They're getting all of their loot ready to go. They're getting fully healed, looting up bodies, and then they will go steal it. Technically, Fallen is decoding it right now, but Q9's making sure they are prepared to steal. They don't technically know where everybody else is. They kind of are assuming likely that there's going to be a team somewhat close making a play for this Mantle Brick. They're wrong if that's what they're assuming. There is nobody in the area. Here's a look in the picture on the right-hand corner of your screen as they go for the steal. This will reset the timer to 3.5 minutes, 30 seconds shorter than the original 4-minute timer, and it will keep decreasing but keep resetting. If teams eventually come down here, we'll watch out for that timer and pay attention to the game clock as well. But I want to draw your eyes to the left-hand corner of your screen. Yes, there's a fight going on. You've got to look. AKA only has 2 players, and well, unfortunately, one of those 2 has been cut down from a flank from GS, the only remaining player from GS.
And I believe Fiddle might be making an attempt to challenge Q9 for the Mando Brick. They have rotated down south. Meanwhile, you've got GS, who still has 1 player up, and then, of course, AKA, who are trying to recover.
Yeah, and AKA only has 1 player up as well because they actually did the strategy that you and I were talking about. They sent 1 player out of the map early.
That's smart.
They got a decent amount of loot. They filled up their safe boxes. They got everything else onto 1 player, sent him out of dodge, and now it's on the back of 2 players, 60MG and Articuno, to try to make a play as a duo. And it looks like it's 60MG last alive for his team in a 1v1 versus Crazy Dog from Gold Silver. But here's a look at what you were talking about. FL, Finnel, they want a piece of this Mantle Brick, and there's plenty of time on the clock, but Crazy Dog set up a trap, and it's a free kill. He connects on the shots, and he's able to take down 60MG. Absolutely no information in the hand of AKA. They get cut down, but they do get out with 1 player, which is going to make sure they've got points on the leaderboard.
All right, so now we focus our attention over to Q9 versus Finnel, who is rotated down south. Mo has extended out, still looting up, maybe thinking everything is free and clear, but maybe unbeknownst to him, running straight into the trio of Finnel, who's just up ahead. But this is going to be valuable. If Mo can hold Finnel off for just even 30, 45 seconds, right, even if he ends up falling, that's going to basically free up the opportunity for Q9 to lock in the remaining seconds for the Mantle Brick.
It is worth mentioning, too, Mo is back on D-Wolf. D-Wolf is going to be off the table for this team. Mo tending towards the Assault Operators. We know he's entry, man. We know he's entry fragger, and it's worked out perfectly for him. But he's going to be out of 1 Assault Operator. I can only assume Mo's going to be playing Fire in the next couple. We'll see what he does here as he's by himself, potentially able to make a heroic play. If he can get FL weak at all,
yes,
huge position for his team.
This is huge. Mo, he's getting challenged. You got a player off the off angle, but Mo has managed to stay free and clear. The triple blasters are definitely taking some damage on him. Mo, very weak as you said, but through the smoke, through the confusion, through the chaos, maybe an off angle is going to be enough. Up close, Mo goes for some shots, but he will drop. But he wasted some valuable time.
Unfortunately, they've got an angle, and K1 is actually taking some damage from downrange. It's going to be a 2v3 to hold the Mantle Brick. As much as Mo was trying to play hero and he traditionally has been able to execute, that was a tough position to find himself in.
Great
and all of a sudden, Finnel has got a huge advantage, but the clock is ticking. They've got to make a move. In a 3v2, they know they have the advantage, and they also know Mo will not get back on his feet. This is a true 3v2 with 30 seconds on the clock. They've got to get aggressive.
Guire, great shots. Good angle. All you need to do, keep him at bay. Nice connection. Shots ringing true. And a full finish is in. Fiddle running out of time. Only 15 valuable seconds remain to get a touch for the Mando Brick. How bad do you want it? I don't think they're going to have an opportunity. Q9 look to be holding on.
What a fantastic find. And obviously, a little bit of a sell there from Finnel. I mean, they just opened themselves up into a wide open window to get shot. And because they lost a player, nobody can touch that Mantle Brick. Just enough fire to push Finnel back. They don't make a move. All 3 up. And Q9, the first on the board with a brick. This is going exactly like we thought it would. Q9 is unstoppable right now, even with 2 players.
So now Fennel has to worry about just getting out, securing the Technic Alloy that they currently have, which still going to be big. Yes, they don't get the Mandel break, but again, top 3 is where you want to be, and Fennel is looking very healthy currently, the healthiest, of course, outside of Q9 so far.
Yeah, quick look here, by the way, bottom right-hand corner just popped away. That was their gold, silver, Crazy Dog's remaining player. He's the only player alive for his team. He was the one that was a hero in a 1v2 against AKA. Because he's got a dog tag, I assume he's going to be sprinting into the Tower of Babel and going to take the extraction at the top of the Tower of Babel just to get out of the map, just like AKA did with what little loot that he does have. But a fight may be continuing here in a potential 2v2. Here we go. K1DE, they can't get to Mo, not yet. Mo still has a timer available if they are able to win this fight, but only a minute on the clock. They're going to run out of time to extract. They want these kills. They need the loot value. Total, and Kior just catches one unaware FL in a blender, and they can't get out of it.
Hugely aggressive. Hard to pinpoint where Q9 is going at all times. Guar
behind
elimination, but like you said, behind Guar will end up falling. K1DE, the last one for Q9 remaining. He's getting pushed. He's going to get stunned, and he's going to get finished off.
Well, the blender apparently shoots them out to the top. They hop out of the blender. They win the gunfight. Kior was able to pick up one perfectly, but didn't hear the footsteps from behind him. And all of a sudden, Q9 are out of this map. They did get the mantle break. It still counts. They're in first no matter what. However, still a nice wipe for Fennel. This is going to put them really far up the leaderboard with the amount of kills they were able to pick up and the amount of loot they're likely able to stash in their safe boxes. Again, we know that those ID tags are worth a sizable amount of value. You're oftentimes going to see those ID tags in the safe boxes. That's exactly what's happening the last couple seconds. And here we go. Q9 is...
And either way, it pays off for Q9. They get the most round earnings. They get the most kills. They get the Mendel brick. They're quite literally doing it all. But let's talk about what matters, right? The top 3, AKA, as well as Fennel, get a big, big round for themselves. This is going to be critical for locking in a top 3. Again, we might only have 2 more maps. That's it, right? If Q9 can get 1 more Mandel brick, we hop into Brockish once again. It's going to be another airdrop round, but a chance for only 4 maps is still there. You want to get all the Technic Alloy you can get.
Well, here's a quick look at the damage charts. Obviously, GS, STS, they struggled again. Crazy Dog, I feel like he had more damage than that. Maybe he just come in and snuck in and grabbed a couple kills, but either way you put it, they really struggled in the map until Crazy Dog was able to grab a couple eliminations towards the end. However, AKA, a crazy amount of damage for not a game where they were able to do anything. They didn't get any kills, and if you saw it there, obviously our best team was the team that got the Mantle Brick Q9, and look at their total loot extracted. They didn't get out of the map. They had 4.56 in their safe boxes.
3.7 alone.
Yeah, what are we talking about? That is a crazy number, and you got to remember that they started in the Tower of Babel. Now here's a quick look at our MVP. This is from Fennel.
Yes, so Fennel and Arivia specifically, what he did so very well was going on a flank early on, and I called that out, right? And he gets behind Gold Silver, and that's what took down 2 of the players. Obviously, we noticed one of the players from Gold Silver was able to stay up as long as they did, but that flank was big, and the first time we've really seen a player truly go on a big flank like that. So I like that he's